Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking with a special edition today of MechWarrior Online here. And the reason why today is a special edition is because one of you guys, commonly known as Hydra, approached me about partaking in an interview. Yes, a live interview filled with fun facts, questions, information, all kinds of stuff that you may or may not be interested in. But some of the stuff is off the cuff, some of the questions are a little more detailed, some of them are personal, and I figured this was a great opportunity even just to, get a sense of the environment that I'm currently working in with MechWarrior Online and the rest of the channel, all the content that I'm publishing out, and really give you guys some more background. We do fun trivia questions here and there about mechs and games and time periods and just fun, interesting stuff about me from my past and so forth. But Hydra approached me with a very actually professional kind of format here with his questions that do go off the beaten path a little bit. We do get into a little bit more detail with everything. But overall, this interview was an absolute blast, and I really want to thank Hydra, also known as Chris. So if you see Hydra, you could call him Chris. I'm not going to give out his entire information or anything like that. But if you do see him, he really took his time with this, and I could tell that he really did because there was kind of a systematic but very professional rapport about the interview that I really did appreciate. And he is a huge MechWarrior Online fan. He does radio broadcasting, so I knew that he was well versed with this. And this is the first time I ever got approached about an interview, so I thought it would be very interesting, and I thought it'd be a cool little take for you guys. It is a lengthy conversation that we had, so maybe in your travels to work or something like that, or maybe when you're just chilling, if you want to listen in, it's kind of like a little podcast, even kind of format. We're just firing off questions, getting a little bit of sentiment about a bunch of stuff. So without further ado, I don't want to, intro this too much, but I really just wanted to thank Hydra for approaching me to begin with and for actually conducting this interview. I know he took some time out to actually come up with these questions, have this conversation and everything, which was absolutely awesome. I enjoyed every single second of it, and if you guys really show a lot of interest in it, definitely let him know in the comments section that you guys enjoyed it, and also let me know if you enjoyed it as well, so that I can maybe set this up as a recurring thing with Hydra, and maybe we can start doing this a little bit more scheduled, if you will. If we want to talk about recent updates or new content, or even just more facts and information and stuff and opinions, and just kind of, again, it's all about building up that community. So that's what we're trying to do here, and just put some more stuff out there for you guys. So without further ado, let's head over to that interview right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. All right, we're all set.
Perfect, man. I gotta know, man, how did you even get to MechWarrior Online in the first place?
Well, it was actually out of school. I was at school. I was really heavily using a Mac, and because it was just essentially required at that point when we were at school, for all these programs and everything, and they needed to be fast, and the networks and everything like that. They wanted us to have Macs, so they suggested that we get a Mac, and then I was like, I miss the good old days of a PC. That's what I was born and raised on, and I really just always was more keen to Windows, and so I was like, I have to go back to where my roots are, and I just thought about how, it's obvious that PCs have way more, variability and quantity of games than Macs do, and what I was born on and around was the Stronghold series. So all the Stronghold Crusader, all those games from Firefly Studios, MechWarrior, and then if anyone remembers Fleet Command and Age of Empires, those old school games that were dumb but just fun enough, where it was pixelated to the point where you really had no idea what you were doing, but it was still a blast. So I was like, you know what? I knew about MechWarrior Online, and I knew that they continued the series even after MechWarrior 2, which is the last that I had played. And I was like, I kind of want to revisit this. I want to see what it's all about. And I just started watching some YouTube videos on it. And I actually watched, do you know Max Corner?
No.
So Max Corner, he's like this. Honestly, I've been following him for a long time. He's one of the reasons I started playing MechWarrior, just because of his commentary. Like, he's this hilarious English guy. He's all like, bent out of shape about everything, about the gaming industry and everything, but nonetheless, he's hilarious from his commentary. And he started playing MechWarrior really since the beta. And I was watching his videos and the progression of the game, and I was like, I really want to try this out for myself. So I was like, you know what? Once I graduate, if I can, get a decent job and be able to at least afford some kind of rig where this game can, I literally bought the PC to play MechWarrior. Like, that was my goal. Awesome. Like, because I was like, I need to go back to my roots. I want to see how this game progressed over time, because I didn't know anything about it when I first started, like with MechWarrior 2. Like, I just knew, like, I was shooting things, I was trying to blow up whatever was targeted, and that was it. I was, like 7 years old at the time. So, yeah, I bought the first rig once I got my position that I have now, and it took a while to get the money for it, but I did, and then it's been a fairy tale ever since, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it's funny because I played MechWarrior 2, MechWarrior 3, and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries. I skipped over Vengeance and Black Knight, and I just forgot about it, and I saw the NCIX special on it, and I thought, like, oh, I remember playing this game as a kid. Like, maybe I'll check this out one day. And I actually ran into a couple of Kanajashi videos, and I watched a couple of videos, like some of his, like, free-to-play guides, and then I found your channel and thought to myself, wow, this game looks like so much fun. Like, there's so much to it. I'm definitely going to give this a go, and just no regrets after that. And I think it's the group play that really brought me in. Like,
yeah,
the idea that you have to work as a team.
Absolutely.
It's not like a Call of Duty Leroy Jenkins kind of one guy blows in, guns a-blazing. Like, you gotta communicate. And, like, for me, that just sucked me right in. And what about yourself? Like, what part of the MechWarrior Online franchise really captured you?
Well, apart from the big stompy robots blowing things up, it was more for me, like, I see that exact point that you're bringing here, and I know, like, yeah, PGI gets a lot of shit, and in the past they've gotten a lot of shit, especially like some of the pricing of mechs and everything, and even like the rebalances and the buffing versus nerfing, and there's constantly, it's like a wave. You see, like, there's waves of things that everyone loves, and then it goes down, and then it comes back. So it keeps cycling through, and I definitely think they're getting closer to that balance. But regardless of the number of people that you might hear complain or have a lot of salt, even if they leave for a while, they always come back. They're always somewhere back in the loop. Even further down the line, they wind up, even if they're only playing a couple games, like, they pick it back up. It's one of those games that it's embedded in the people that enjoy it and enjoy the franchise as a whole, whether it's PGI, whether it's Harebrained Schemes, whether it's frickin' Microsoft, like, whoever's making the game at that point in time, the people keep coming back to it. And I think noticing that and realizing I'm just like that, like, I was like, I played MechWarrior 2 when I was 7. I missed, Vengeance and 3 and all that. I didn't even know they existed because I didn't have a PC. So to leave college and then all of a sudden and see that this community and these people still exist and they all coexist in this one platform now, like MechWarrior Online, and now you have BattleTech for Harebrained Schemes, and then MechWarrior 5 is coming out, Mercenaries. So
super excited about that.
Yeah, I'm really pumped about it. So it's almost like a resurgence from the 80s and 90s babies, like that really took this to heart and are passionate about it. And it just feels like it's not one of those, like, run and gun, blow up a building Call of Duty kind of things where they just slap on a different skin every year. It really feels like one of those games that, like, you're investing in something that you really almost take pride in, and that was what kept me coming back to this game. Looking back 2 years now, almost playing this game. So
you've been a part of the community for around two years.
Correct, like fully vested, a part of whether it was the competitive scene, casual scene, whatever it was. I've only had the YouTube channel for about I think it's almost a year. It's a little over a year and a half, so almost 2 years as well. So really, when I started, I was doing just casual videos. I got a lot of support really when I first started from Max Corner. He helped me a little bit, just in understanding the mechanics of the game. The Beef, everyone's favorite, is, like he was like a mentor to me, really, because I was in 228, like Unit 228. I looked up to him to the point where I wanted to be in that unit and be on the competitive team with the guy. Like that was where my focus was. Even Proton and what's his name, Psychoholic. Psychoholic, I think, of all of those guys, was probably the most helpful, just because he didn't have a YouTube channel or like the worldwide fame until everyone started to realize that he was a great player. But he probably helped me out the most. He was taking me into private lobbies and stuff to work on one-on-one battles, like every other day. And even when we practiced together, like when he was in Lords and now he's in Oz and stuff like all these very, very high-ranking competitive units that, I'm eternally grateful for, because he's given me so many different mechanics and things to take into consideration, like things that you didn't really notice when you first get into a mech and are piloting it, that you can use. And he kind of figured them out, and not only figured them out, but shared that knowledge with me. So I know it was a long answer, but that's what it is.
Like it's interesting, and would you say that like kind of attributes your general persona that you output to your channel?
I definitely think that there's a background that lies with that, and my whole like demeanor and my attitude on the channel, like I am pumped about these robots. Like how could you not be? Like imagine if this was real life, like if we really had like a 70-ton Warhammer like stepping on a house. Like that would be
just barreling down that thing.
Yeah, like imagine being a person just standing on the ground, and there's just this war machine just looking at you, right, like to incinerate you essentially. Like so the fact that like that's the whole like premise that we're looking at here. That's what I mean. That's I am excited about it. There's no doubt about it, and to carry that, it's part of my personality too. Like I really don't have a problem talking to anyone at any given point in time about anything. So yeah, you're talking to the wrong guy if you're here to talk politics or religion or any of the the horrible topics that people like to stay away from. Like I don't care. It is everyone's gonna have their own opinion, and you kind of just.
I think it's just a matter of respecting it, right? Like
exactly.
Everyone's got a difference of opinion, and that's what makes us like a species, right? That's what separates us from other animals, and like I think people kind of lost touch of respecting kind of each individual, and I think it's from your community, because I'm so new to this game and new to the idea of doing group queues. Like it's been fantastic because everyone just treats each other like they're individuals with their own set of quirks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I agree with that.
It's fantastic, and you've done an amazing job of building the community you have. That's for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You should take a lot of pride in that. And like, what I gotta know, what inspired Majestic, the name?
Well, first, that's actually no one's ever asked me that before. When I first was thinking about the name, like I really love the Middle Ages. Like I love the Crusades is my favorite time period. Whether you're talking about the First Crusade, the Second Crusade, the Children's Crusade, for God's sake. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. That whole period, I was always obsessed with it. And as soon as you think Middle Ages or Crusades, you think like popes and kings and just rulers and everything, and to derive from that, like I mean, and then that kind of coincides with like what I was telling you before about playing Stronghold and everything like that. And I just thought like the whole time period just seems like everyone took pride in themselves. Like whether you were a duke, a baron, a knight, a king, an emperor, whatever the case was, like these were like majestic people. Like they had a personality about them, and obviously with everything there's good and bad. There are great kings, there are horrible kings, but
Yep.
I tried to personify the good side of it, and to be majestic in ruling, be majestic with your personality. It kind of there's a very well-rounded definition that surrounds being quote unquote majestic. So like you think of a lion as majestic, you think of a king as majestic, and everyone has their own take on what that word actually means. But to me, it really sunk home when I was thinking about tying everything about me personally and my life and the things that I'm interested in to one word. And although the actual name itself, like Majestic, is not available in the game, that's the only reason why it's in the elite characters. Like it's because it's hard to find my name on YouTube unless you actually type it out. And I know that that's hurt me for branding and advertising the channel and everything, but it's like I'm not going to misspell it and do like a K at the end or something like that. So I just wanted to at least stick with everyone understands like lead characters and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, I'll just roll with it, we'll see what happens. And then
Well, it's like the modern lifestyle meets the old fashioned.
exactly,
Right.
that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, and I mean, like as the recording of this interview, you just hit 4,000 subscribers. So, like, congratulations, man, on that. That's
Thank you very
for a
much.
year, like, that's crazy, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's almost 2 years now, and to think like an average of 2,000 subs a year. I mean I know there are channels that have tens, hundreds, millions of subscribers, but to me this was all personal because I had no experience with video recording, production, editing, or anything. Everything that I put out is self-taught videos. Like I don't take a course. I don't even know what course I would take. So I'm more. I guess I could say I'm proud of myself in that regard. But
well, no, you should be really proud of yourself. And like you spoke about your passion about like just the whole franchise and the PC gaming community, and with a lot of games, and we see it like you mentioned before with PGI taking a lot of shit for what they do. What keeps you like so positive all the time? Because every video I watch, it's just like it's so joyous.
honestly, it's at the end of the day, this is a video game. And if I'm having fun with the video game, I'm having fun personally too. Like it's not just I'm having fun with the video game, okay, I'm still a miserable person in real life. It's if I'm having fun with the video game, I myself am happy and I'm having fun myself. So why not portray that back if I'm having fun? That's my honest emotion. I'm not going to bottle that up because, I'm supposed to be serious and a pilot and, I'm with 11 other guys and stompy robots and this is going to be a world, life-changing experience every round. Like that it would be silly to put it in that context, and that's kind of why I take a little bit of a lighter approach because at the end of the day, it's a game and you're supposed to have fun with it, and I'm having a blast with it. I've been having a blast with it. And although, yes, I don't agree with everything that PGI might do, but at the same point, it is where it is right now, and it's made it 4 years down the line, right? We're 5 now because it was 2012 when the beta was out, right? So, when you look 5 years down the road that this game still even exists, that there still is even a community, I think that in of itself kind of speaks volume. So,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's important for a lot of people to remember too. Like these platforms, like they're designed to build communities, and a lot of the gameplay, because it's so team driven, like it's designed to make friends. In the long
absolutely,
run.
yeah.
I think people kind of lose sight of that. They lose sight about what the purpose of the game is, and they just focus on. I think there's two kinds of people. There's people that either don't like change. They're very uncomfortable with change, or they're looking to pick at something.
I can agree with that.
it's I'm not going to say it's rare because I'm going to say a good 65% of the games I play just in solo queue, like I'm having a great time. I'm with good people. I'm it's a game that I sell to my friends saying like, look, if you want to play a game that's, you know, got some genuine people in it that are just there to have a good time, like MechWarrior Online is definitely the game to play. And you can honestly play for free. You don't have to spend money.
No, no, exactly my point, and that was actually a topic of discussion earlier today that people were bringing up when I was noticing even between comments and what's available. It's not a pay to win game.
No.
If you take the time and you really like, these are passions for a lot of people. So to grind out the C bills, and then when you grind out the C bills and you purchase a mech in the mech lab or in the store. When you get that mech into your garage, you feel the accomplishment of earning to purchase that mech. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like every time I do that, everyone talks about like, how the hell do you have 419 mechs? And it's like I grind through so many C bills. You and sometimes when people like if someone donates a mech pack or something like that, I try and go on as much as I possibly can for the premium time so that I can still get this bonus C bills and and that's what I've been doing. So it's like, yes, I get the mech packs that they donated, but at the same point, like I'm grinding through a lot of C bills to purchase what I have, and it might take a long time, but it's rewarding every single time I make a purchase, and I feel like it's worth it. So
Yeah, I over the events for this month, I went from when I started the event, it was like 200,000 C bills, and I'm at 45 million. And
exactly, bingo.
yeah, and it like I'm looking at this number right now, going like, I can't wait to spend this. Like it's gonna feel great.
Yes, absolutely, and
it's that accomplishment.
exactly. And the fact is, even with the event right now, like the completion of 5 of the weekly events in 1 week and everything, I just got the notification for a free battle master that you get with the event. Like I logged in and it's like, here's your battle master. So yeah, I was like, I didn't even do anything. Like that's like I don't even know what the price is of the 1G. But that's that you get the battle master just for doing the event, and you don't need to purchase mechs with real money to do that. And
No,
PGI gives you a free mech. So
they're actually, out of all the video games that I've played, and I was on the Pokemon Go trend.
I think everyone can admit they at least tried it.
But like, if you look at like the failure of that game, it wasn't the fact that it was just gimmicky. It was the fact that they didn't give a shit about their community.
Absolutely, they didn't
To be
respond.
honest.
They didn't care. They still don't care. I mean, let's be honest.
don't.
It's a money pit. So
And I'm looking at the store right now. The 1G goes for 7.7 million C bills and 3,000 mech credits. So that's
yeah.
a fair amount of value just for playing.
Yeah, and it's like casual. Like if you went on for a week straight after work or after school or whatever you're doing, that's attainable. It's not like it's this impossible challenge that only pay to win players could achieve. It's anyone. So
Yeah, I mean, like I'm married with a kid, and like my daughter's 9 months. She's a bit of a handful right now, so like I don't have all the time in the world to just grind out this game. And I was able to play, about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours a night, and I managed to get just about every objective on this event.
that's awesome to hear. So you're living proof that it's not pay to win.
Yeah, I'm living proof that it's not pay to win.
Perfect.
I mean, we, players like me have, I got to thank you and people like Kanajashi for, all the assistance. Because I think with the kind of content that you pump out, you also show us that you can make unique builds. You don't have to use the quote unquote meta mechs, or I call them optimized. You just have fun with it. Anyone can do great in this game.
Absolutely, especially in the quick play queue. It's like it's like 52 card pickup. You have no freaking clue where any card is gonna land, but you take what you got and you kind of just run with it and make the best.
Sure. And so, like, how has your YouTube career? And we're just gonna talk about the YouTube portion, not what you do outside of it.
Sure.
How has that affected your lifestyle?
It's affected it from a time perspective, obviously, because when you're in a game like this, and not every day you're going to have a 12-man group to drop with and have fantastic games and show a concept or a point every day. So the time difference between each of my videos might be a little bit more than, say, someone who puts out a video daily, or even multiple times a day, or puts out a video and then streams later on in the day. Like, I'm doing the best that I can with the time that I'm given. I do have, a social life and stuff outside of, during the course of the week. During the course of the week is when I do a majority of my recording, because 9 times out of 10, by the time I get home, it's about 6:30, 7 o'clock. I try and eat something real quick, and I'm on here at 8:30, and then I have to go to bed by 10:30 or 11. So, so in that perspective, I enjoy it, and the fact that it does take up my time. This is a hobby for me, so from that perspective, yes, it's totally fine and everything. It does take up some time, and sometimes there are really, really frustrating days, and I think everyone can kind of associate with that, where you have a really, really frustrating day. Just every game is horrible, whether you did horribly or the team cohesion just wasn't there, and you kind of just shake your head and you're like, man, am I just frustrated right now? And so, like, and there are days like that, because obviously I want to make the best use of my time if I'm on here during the week. And sometimes there are days like that where, I'm spending time on from 8:30 maybe till 10:30, and just zero gets done. And I just feel like I'm like, well, I guess I have to revisit this in 24 hours and hope for another good result, So, how it's affected my lifestyle and everything like that, it's actually kind of opened me up a little bit, because I knew I enjoyed public speaking, but diving into YouTube in particular is terrifying, because it was at first, because it's like so many people that you don't even know could watch your video and be like, this guy is whacked, he's an idiot, he's a troll, he has no idea what he's doing, like, screw this guy. And at first, when I first started, I was like, intimidated. Obviously, you're sitting there, you're like trying to stay quiet and like just say what you want to say, but like also perform well so that no one can really be mad or be like, why didn't you do this? And now it's like 2 years from now, it's built me beyond just like obviously responding to anyone who has a complaint or is like, this is stupid, like, you should have done that, you should have done this, you're dumb, this is wrong, And like, I take it all as constructive criticism. That's what it is. It's not trolling to me. It's constructive criticism, because everyone has their opinion. They're entitled to it, and YouTube has kind of opened up my eyes to that. So all I can do is, all you trolls out there who are listening in on this, I respect you. Go ahead, give me your best shot.
I mean, that's, makes you a bigger man when you come to those realizations. And like, I work in the traditional broadcasting realm, and it's a completely different nightmare on YouTube.
Yeah.
There is no targeted demographics, really.
No, it's keyboard warrior.
Yeah, exactly. You're not necessarily targeting a specific age group or a gender. You're designing videos and just kind of, well, take no offense to this, but you're just kind of throwing stuff out there and hoping it works. Because there's no formula. I'm
not going to disagree to that.
Like, just looking at like all the diversity in broadcasters, because that's what you guys are. You're just kind of showing yourself and just kind of hoping it works. And I think that's what spawns the most genuine YouTubers, though.
And that's, I mean, if this were to turn into something where it would, make me consider doing it full time, that's one thing. But again, I wasn't in this to get internet famous. Mech Warrior Online is a very niche game. It's a tight knit community. It's not like a, what is it, like League of Legends and World of Warcraft and Call of Duty and all that stuff. And I knew that going into it. I was doing this more for the passion of the game, bringing more of the community together, of who does exist still in the community, and like I said, just having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I say demographic, obviously you're playing towards Mech Warrior Online players, but I think when you say the word, like, it's a niche game, and that's very true. I think what you see with the YouTubers that play on these niche games is the longevity of their communities, because people outgrow things.
Absolutely.
And MechWarrior Online is much more than just like it's like a 1 year fate. Look, like I said, Pokemon Go, that was huge. For 1 year, that was massive, and it just died.
Yeah, like no one cares. Honestly, I don't know
cares.
anyone who cares about that anymore.
Exactly. So I think, you're saying that there are YouTubers out there that are playing these big AAA titles that have these crazy amounts of viewers, but I think I would personally take the quality community, the longevity, than I would the quality or the quantity.
Absolutely.
And I think that'll speak volumes for you in the future as well. Like when you see that a lot of us are still, loyally watching your videos.
And that brings me to a good point, because there are select games that I've already picked out that are coming out that I know I want to not necessarily flagship but make popular on my channel, and they're not highly triple A plus accredited games that between the demographic age of 5 to 60 everyone's going to want to watch and see what other people are doing. I've already picked out, like, I do want to play Bannerlords when that comes out. Because I know that was just announced and everything, like the release date, and that it was coming out later this year. I've been following Cuphead for like a year and a half, just because, like, think about it, a 40s cartoon, like, or 30s even, and it's a run and gun. It just looks like the artistic ability of those guys over there, and putting that into that game and everything. I was like, how do you not at least appreciate the amount of time? Like, they really babied this game for like 3 years since it was first even announced.
Oh, for sure.
And so to see it finally coming out, later this year, is exciting for me. And I know it might not be a AAA game that everyone's going to play, and it wound up being rated E for everyone, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm catering to the 6-year-olds again. But I don't care. Like, that game looks appealing to me just from the standpoint of the uniqueness of it. It's not...
Like, I grind out like games like FTL.
No, very nice. That's great.
That game is like, I've played that game since it came out in 2012. Like, I've
Oh my
put
gosh.
more hours in FTL than anything else.
Wow, man. Props for that.
I love that game. Oh, it's so much fun. I do want to shift gears into more
Sure.
Controversial territory.
Of course.
I want to talk about. I want to hear your true take on stuff like the skill tree. That's probably the most controversial thing PGI's done.
Okay.
Bear in mind, like, I have a pug's point of view, so
Sure.
this is just kind of what I see, and a lot of people are whining about it, saying, like, it's a mistake. They should have never put this thing live. But I think it's quite the opposite. I think it gave the game probably the most diversity, and it's very new player friendly in the sense that I don't need to spend money buying 3 mechs just to master my 1 prime variant.
Absolutely. I guess from the get-go here, pros versus cons. You're looking at when this game was first released, there were no clan mechs. It was inner sphere only, and so everyone was beating each other up with the same mechs that anyone else could use at any given point in time, and it was more about the pilot's skill rather than who had the tankier or the more quirked out variant that or did a different loadout versus another. So, like you were saying before, with change, there's obviously going to be people that are hesitant or resistant to it simply because it's change and they're comfortable where they are. They like the status quo. So when you introduce a completely new system like a skill tree, where you're taking away the quirks that exist, and you're taking the second variable in the game that ever existed with clan mechs, and you're saying they didn't have many buffs or anything before the skill tree, and now you can buff them, so they're getting stronger than they already were because they were outperforming the inner sphere. The inner sphere didn't have the capabilities or the technology to do that. You know, you want to save some tonnage. Well, you put an XL engine in your mech and you blow off a torso, you're dead. And with the clan side of things, you blow off a torso, you're still in the fight. You still have another half of a mech. So people were obviously bitter about that and upset about it, and I understand it from that perspective. I get it. So I understand, like, people are, you know, there are some diehard Inner Sphere players and there are diehard clanners. And, you know, like, each side is going to complain about each other. Like, even now with the Civil War tech coming out next month, now the clanners are getting mad because they don't have the same technology that the Inner Sphere is going to have. So it's like, it's just a constant back and forth between the two. Honestly, I think the skill tree was an excellent way to balance the game, or get towards the inevitable or ultimate way of balancing this game so that it's fair. Because then it puts everyone on an even level, every mech on an even level. And although the clans are very powerful and they have the upper hand right now with the skill tree, I think PGI's thought process, especially with this Civil War tech and everything, is going to balance things out even more so for the Inner Sphere. So that's going to, again, kind of, you know, not blur the line, but really kind of solidify what they're trying to do here. They're trying to make it balanced so that both sides, regardless of what you choose, are appealing. And I can appreciate that. So I do like the skill tree, and I do appreciate the fact that you don't have to master 3, you know, variants of the same mech in order to get it to a fully mastered mech. And, you know, you can go on each one because obviously every mech is unique in and of itself. Unless you're using Omni mechs, in which you could just switch out the components and make whatever you want. But, you know, so I really like that they did that, and they kind of cater to each pilot's individual preferences, really. You know, just when you thought it couldn't get more custom than the loadouts and the mechs and everything and the variations of this game, throwing in the skill tree was a perfect way to make each individual pilot exactly that, an individual. So I appreciate the skill tree, and I, you know, looking back on it, the people that, you know, still might need to grow into it or just understand it more, will hopefully appreciate it in the long run, along with even the new tech coming out next month. So,
yeah, I mean, again, like I said before, like, I have a very Pugs point of view on it, but it's just, to me, it seemed. Before it was just too, like, okay, I gotta click these like 8 buttons to make my mech good, you know. And now there's such a wide variety of things. You build your own corks, and you build them according to how you prefer to play the game. And that to me was the best change they could have made to the game.
And the funny thing is like, you know, obviously the one thing that's that kind of sticks out is that the tree really does, for the mechs that boat, like if you're boating weapons, whether it's missiles, lasers, ballistics, whatever it is, you know, you're gonna get a little bit more out of the skill tree from that, because you know, you pick one side of the skill tree to go down if you have all missiles, and you get not only the generic quirks but those specific nodes for that weapon type as well. So it definitely favors that, but again, it's accessible for everyone. It's not like, if you support the Inner Sphere, you will only have access to these mechs and these missiles and these nodes and so on and so forth. Anyone can pick up any mech, you know, whether it's free or you're spending C-bills for it, or if you decide to, you know, invest money with MC or purchase a mech pack. You know, it depends on how involved you want to get into the game, but the fact that they're all there, it's all customized that you can use for anyone, you know, that's what I guess I can say I appreciate about it.
Yeah, and they certainly have a lot of work to do with the skill tree. It is by no means perfect, but I think they took, like you said, it's the step they needed to take to give us like that ultimate balance that we all need.
Of course, because you're always fighting an uphill battle when you have the Inner Sphere and you're constantly changing the quirks per variant based on their loadout to try and make it balanced and appealing for anyone who wants to use it. So, you know, by just saying like, you know what, we're going to strip it, you got what you got, and, you know, we're going to add some new tech, and we're going to put everyone on an even playing field here, Now let's see what you're made of. Let's see what you're gonna do with it, and I can appreciate that.
Absolutely, and again, I don't want to take away the frustration that most players do have with it. It's just I think they really need to. I'm not going to say get over themselves, but they need to look at it as a step forward into a brighter future rather than just a detriment.
Yeah, that's gonna piss off a select few in the community that won't appreciate it or won't even give it a chance.
Yeah, this is a fantastic opportunity for just for people to just explore and learn more about the game rather than just clicking, like I said, those 8 buttons and just kind of going, all right, I'm good now.
Of course.
And then I do want to talk about the state of LRMs.
Oh, jeez.
I have to talk about it.
Okay, fair enough.
More in referencing to a stream that you had not too long ago where you just powered down and left.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that, not because I'm trying to stir the pot, but because I think there was I saw it pissed off some people, but there was an underlining point that I think a lot of people missed, and that is one, in regards to that situation, you as an entertainer, by you dying in that first 2 minutes and then just hopping over to other cockpits to watch slowly your whole team start to melt away is not entertaining for anyone.
Correct.
So by you powering down and saying, you know what, that was very frustrating, I'm just going to quit the match, I think that was totally appropriate. And I think what a lot of people have to realize is, for yourself and for other YouTube personalities, this is about entertainment, and there is nothing entertaining about watching a team just slowly melt away from LRMs.
I agree, and what I really want to point out first before I say anything else is I don't hate LRMs. I really want to get that point across. I don't hate LRMs because imagine the game without them, right? Like you would literally have brawlers or PPC Gauss snipers. That's literally what it is. My frustration from that was, as you said, there's that there's the entertainment side of it where, first of all, who wants to sit in a lobby when you're trying to launch into a game? You have what is it, a 20-second countdown, and when you're selecting the map, you have a 60-second countdown maximum before you're actually in the game, and then you're walking on the biggest map in the game, the most open map in the game, and within what was it, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that,
2 to 3 minutes,
to watch someone. So you spent 5 minutes to get into this match, to not only not have a chance, but there was no equipment in the air, like a UAV or anything that even gave away a position. I was hiding behind a rock, and out of nowhere, there's just spam of LRM just coming out of nowhere. Like, literally, I was like, how did they even get targeted? I didn't even know they were over there. Like there's no indication that I even saw them versus them seeing me. There was no spotter. It was too early in the game. So how that even happened, I have no idea. They locked on, and to me, I would be frustrated as a viewer to want to watch a stream and be excited to get into this game. When you know that if you get this map and you're in this build and there's a possibility that you come into this kind of situation where you don't even have the opportunity to fight back. I didn't see anyone, and I literally just got pummeled into the ground. So then I just said to myself, you know what? Like you were even saying, to prove a point, just to make mention of it, don't give them the satisfaction, because that's what was kind of ruining it, really, because if you give them the satisfaction of you getting pummeled into the ground from 700 lerms hitting you in the dome, what really, first of all, what kind of entertainment is that for someone?
No, it's not
nothing.
At all.
And from the streaming standpoint, it's for me, it's like I feel frustrated for you guys. It's like you just spent 5 minutes watching me get into this game, seeing how I perform and my take on this mech and how my team is, kind of coordinating with itself to hopefully get a victory, and we didn't even have a shot. So as for how it stands right now, the sheer quantity of lerms is where I think the nerf needs to be, because not to point out specific builds or anything like that, but it's usually and that's what I meant by I don't have a problem with people that use lerms. I really don't. But when it comes time for pushing, and you call out a target and you want your team to help you when you're moving up to engage a target, I don't care if you're a lerm boat. Even if you're an assault lerm boat, just push up with the team and armor share. Yep. That's the key that I really want to point out to every player that does like to lerm boat their assaults, because even if you're not doing that direct, frontline assault kind of, really rock'em sock'em brawly kind of damage, your presence is enough to A, either fake out your opponents, or B, get them confused to not know who to target.
Yep.
So when you're in a match and all you see are lights, mediums, and maybe a few heavies up on the front line, and you have a Lerm Atlas, a Lerm King Crab, a Lerm Scorch, and a Lerm Cyclops all chilling 600 meters back behind the rest of the team, what good is that doing?
No, it's no good.
They have the armor, so I know with that with the tonnage comes the ability to have that ridiculous amount of firepower. I understand that. So you can really, really spam the crap out of particular weapons and boat, a lot of stuff. But again, this is a team-oriented game. It's not, like you said, like Call of Duty or anything where one guy runs in, blows up the whole place, and gets all the credit. You have to work together as a team. And even if your play style is lerming in an assault, just help out the team, because your armor is what's going to help us.
Yep.
It's going to help us help you. So that's really where my standpoint comes with this. Again, you could learn anything you want, and there are people call them troll builds for it, and some people are just bitter about the fact that lerms even exist. I'm personally not. Again, I just think that the especially when someone does call it out, that's I think what's the most frustrating is over comms. Everyone says focus on this target, everyone move up, help us out up front, and whether it's a Lerm assault, a Lerm heavy, or even a Lerm light or a Lerm, I mean any weight class really, if they're just chilling in the back, it's minimal positive impact, minimal value add for the rest of the team.
Right, and I run a Shadowcat A variant, and I have a single LRM-10, 2 ER large lasers, and the point of that build is to just creep forward, and I'm firing at the 400 to 500 meter range.
Of course.
And that's the way that I like to play LRMs. I like to play it as I'm going to push them back. I'm going to let them know, hey, I got target on you, so, get the hell down. And slowly allow the team to creep forward and then make that final little push.
Exactly. And that's
I think, kind of the role that LRMs, and I say this, again, as a new player, I think that's kind of the goal with them, and they've just been turned into this spam.
Well, and I think that's where a lot of the bitterness comes in the community, is when you see what is it, a Lerm 80 night gear or something like that,
yeah,
with no other backup weapons. And it's so literally, if anyone were to get either behind you or you have zero defense, you are screwed if you are sitting there by yourself. And it comes time where it's even if you have backup weapons, I wouldn't be as mad. But if you are strictly you can't even, I don't even think it's possible to go through 4,000 or 5,000 rounds of LRM ammo in a game.
No, I'd say that that's extremely unlikely.
So like why you're spending why you have 30, 50, you're spending so much tonnage between the actual lerms and then filling the rest of it with ammo that you're not even going to use. It just baffles me. And so instead of doing that and again ticking off a lot of people, put some other weapon back on there. Put something short range, so at least if something gets close to you, maybe they won't take you down as quickly because you have some sort of defense that might ward them off a little bit, or at least prolong your death a little bit more. But, especially for the inner sphere, even right now, if they get within that minimum range, you're screwed. What lerms are you going to hit them with? The non-existent ones that can't hit inside of a particular range? It's just not going to work. So at least my advice, especially if there are new players listening to this right now, if you decide to learn boat, either bring backup weapons or just push with the rest of the team and armor share once they make a move. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah, and that's all I really wanted to talk about was just the state of lerms and kind of what I just wanted to hear your opinion on it and see if you could shed some light on the proper methods of using them, because
Of course.
I think a lot of people, they just assume that they're spam weapons and they serve a different purpose in the game.
Yeah, and that they do serve a purpose in the game, and whether you're using it in an assault or a heavy or something like that, where the sheer quantity of them is what makes them so potent, versus a medium or a light that's a little quicker, and you're using them like that. You could use it for harassment with the lighter stuff, and then in bulk for the heavy stuff. But the point is the team collaboration, the cohesion that you're bringing to the battlefield that really makes the most impact. And if there isn't that, then you might as well just sit in your garage, because you're not really going to get anywhere. Especially when people talk about, like, I want to be out of tier 5. I can't get out of tier 5. Well, don't boat a supernova and sit in the back with the, and hope that you're going to get 1,000 or 1,200 damage every single round. Because for every 1,200 damage game that you're getting, I guarantee you've probably had 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 rounds where you might have done 150 damage because your missiles didn't hit, or you weren't getting locked, or you got killed quickly from a light. So the cons definitely outweigh the positives. So I don't know. I would use them sparingly, but just make sure you're helping out your team. Let's just put it at that.
Yeah, and I think a point that I'd like to make too on the individuals that are stuck in tier 5, like I'm nowhere close to tier 1. I'm at the top end of tier 4. But what got me out of tier 5 was I didn't use meta mechs. I used mechs that I was comfortable playing with. I mean, I do have a Shadowcat Prime variant. That's I guess you could consider meta. But I just used mechs that complemented my playstyle, and I got out of tier 5 with a Viper A and a Viper Prime.
And that's a squishy mech, so I give you credit for for pulling that one off, man.
It was a lot of work, but like I didn't like. There's no shame in going on the internet or on MetaMechs and just kind of looking at something to build for, because that's a great way to get introduced into the game and start getting those wins in. But you should be building your mechs around what is most comfortable for you and what you like to play. And I like those. I'm not gonna say glass cannon, but those really squishy mechs that are, they're very fast and they're very potent, and I like that play style. And that's how I got out of tier 5 and started to approach, I'm starting to approach the tier 3 range, and I'm just running Vipers and Shadowcats.
Exactly. And I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, because as long as you follow your play style, you enjoy what you're playing with, you find the best and quickest results. Like, when I first started playing, I was going with everyone else's suggestions, and I was like, I don't really like playing it like this. This isn't fun for me. And then to shift gears real quick and be like, I really like getting in people's faces and putting an AC-20 right in their cockpit or something like that. It's just like to take two different perceptions and realize, like, the only way I'm going to get better is if I enjoy what I'm piloting. And kind of taking that approach was what even got me out of tier 3, 4, whatever the tier was, to now, and playing in the group queue with players that are better than you. That's the key. Play with players that are better than you. I know that there's communities and everything, and people like to, group up with their friends frequently and consistently and everything like that. But if you find a group or a unit, watch the World Championships. If you see guys that are in those matches with you, because they're trying to do up and down 2 tiers as the players that you're, aligned with in the queue. But if you see players that are on those teams, shoot them a friend request and annoy the crap out of them. Tell them you want to play, and you're not very good. Eventually, and that's what I did, I annoyed the crap out of every pilot that was in tier 1 until I got to tier 1. Because then I knew that I didn't need to bother anyone anymore, and I was just amongst everyone else who was already tier 1. So.
And now people are bugging you.
But the difference is I don't really mind it. So it's the more the merrier for me.
Yeah,
but,
I think it's a key point to make that, like, if you and a tier system is kind of a flawed system to begin with, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's primarily based off of damage. Let's be for real. And
of course.
I think like what makes a difference is what you said, is you got to enjoy what you're playing, and you have to play with what you're comfortable. Like, I am terrible with Gauss rifles. I didn't even do the Gauss challenge because I knew there's no bloody way I'm going to pull this off. I cannot aim with that for the life of me.
You're right.
But like, just play with what you're most comfortable with, and I feel the most confident in my Shadowcat Prime and my Shadowcat B.
Both great mechs.
Yeah, they're fantastic mech. A lot of people give the Viper a lot of flack, and rightfully so. There is a lot of things wrong with it, but like, I'm very confident in the Viper, and I'm averaging 500 damage with it, and it's not because I'm a great player. It's just because that's the playstyle I like, and that's the playstyle I know I'm good with.
Exactly. Nail on the head.
So I think that's really key to a lot of new players, is just learn the roles, pick a role that you're the most comfortable with, and then build your mech accordingly. You don't necessarily need to find a meta mech. I mean, again, if you want to use them, hell, use them. They're great fun, but just build what works best for you.
Of course. Good call.
That would be, I don't know. That'd be my. I could be horribly wrong.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's what works for me.
Of course.
Well, I'm out of questions, man.
There's no problem. I guess I would just give some other quick facts, in case anyone wants to know. My favorite weapon types to use are ballistic weapons. My favorite light mech in the game right now is the Wolfhound. My favorite medium mech in the game is the Bushwhacker. I think everyone knows that.
Oh, we all know that.
I think my favorite heavy mech in the game is definitely the Mad Dog. The Mad Dog always had my heart, and it continues to have my heart. If I was going to go Inner Sphere, though, I would say the Warhammer. And then my favorite assault mech is definitely the underrated and underappreciated Gargoyle. I don't know why, I just do half decent with that mech every time I take it out on the battlefield. So between that and the Ultraviolet, how can you not like the... How could you sit there... How could anyone sit there and say, I do not like the Ultraviolet when you have that much DACA at your disposal? That's just sheer fun. Regardless, it's spam, but at the same point, it's like, it's just a lot of fun. So...
I was actually wrong. I do have one more question for you.
Yeah, sure.
But keep going with what you're saying, because I was going to avoid these questions because I wanted to make this a little more personal.
Of course, yeah.
Right? And I mean, I think it's pretty evident to see. I mean, obviously the Bushwhacker is going to be one of your number ones. I mean, that machete, man.
Hey, there are many more installments of that to come. We've done Machete 2. I still have 3, 4, and 5 coming up. So there's a lot more content to come on that.
Hey man, you inspired me. I made my own machete out of the X2.
Ooh, okay.
And, I've been having a blast that I'm running a single LBX10.
Are you sure you want to share this with the viewers? No, go ahead.
I got the LBX10 3 SRM4s and 2 medium lasers with the standard the stock XL 275, and I gotta say, man, like it's a build that I didn't think was gonna work, and I've just wrecked face with this thing.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's a tanky mech, and that's exactly how I like to play. Is quick, speedy, a lot of firepower. You know, and tanky. Well,
the last question, and feel free to not answer this at all. The only
Sure.
reason I'm asking this is because an announcer that works for one of the radio stations that I'm at most of my days asked this to everyone. He asked
Sure.
this to our prime minister.
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So this is a loaded question.
It's a loaded question.
Okay.
Do you pee in the shower?
Do I pee in the shower?
Yeah.
Like, have I ever, or do I currently?
You currently pee in the shower.
No.
I'm sorry, I had to ask.
It's totally fine.
He asked this to our prime minister.
But I will say, every time I do have to pee, I'd rather pee outside. It's
I
just,
totally get that, dude. I think that's just a man thing, though.
I don't know. Not that I have anything against toilets or urinals or anything like that, but I just, every time I go, I'm like, I saved the flush. You know?
You said you're a farm boy, right?
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
natural thing for you guys.
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm accustomed to it, but some people think it's weird.
I'm from like a small village too, so like I totally get it, man. I'm on your side on this one. I live in a city and I still do it.
Oh, nice. That's the ticket there. That's a lot more high profile, a little riskier.
There may have been beer involved.
Probably, and I wouldn't put it past you, but we won't dive into that for another day.
For another day.
But yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and I'm really stoked to be able to kind of do these small little Q&A session with you.
Of
Well,
course.
small 'cause it went for a pretty long time.
Yeah, this is a big one. We're approaching an hour now.
Damn.
And you know, I really do appreciate you reaching out for this. Again, as I mentioned before, this is the first time anyone's even approached me about doing an interview, and I think it definitely sheds a lot of light on personal takes on the game, and also gives the viewers a chance to understand a little bit more about the rationale behind the thing. Because obviously, when you think about a YouTube video, it's like it's supposed to be a clip, and all my videos are upwards of 20 minutes. But so
Never change, by the way, because that's what I do when I'm at work.
okay, yeah, I mean, I'm planning to keep the same kind of consistency with my videos as I have right now. So, you know, and the duration of them, I like the duration of them. I think it's well-rounded.
It's
So,
a sweet spot, yeah.
you know, if someone has a half hour to kill, even if you're constipated or something, and you know that you're going to be on the bowl for a while, it's a good videos to watch, you know. So,
Well, like my job it gets tricky, man, and sometimes I'm working long hours, so it really does help. Right?
exactly, yeah,
If I'm
exactly.
in the middle of something and I just need something in the background, it's fantastic.
Of course, and I think that's I'm not going to change the style. I'm not going to change, you know, when I do drop calls and stuff like that. That's the only time you're not going to hear me screaming into my mic, and I don't really care if anyone has a problem with me screaming in my mic, because that's just how I'm excited about the game. What do you want me to say? So
Well, I think they're like those shoutcasters. They're great. I love
Yeah.
them. They're exciting.
yeah, they're gonna have to turn down my mic volume. I'm not that tech savvy to keep adjusting it for the community drops on Sundays versus my videos, but you know, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm trying to appease both sides. So.
Well, thank you so much for doing it. I honestly, when I emailed you, I'm like, man, this guy's gonna think I'm a friggin' weirdo.
No, not at all. Honestly, I appreciate the fact that you did it, because it's kind of cool that someone actually has that interest to want to do an interview like this. So, thank you as well for the time and even reaching out to begin with.
No problem.
Alrighty. I guess we'll see you on another episode next time we have more questions.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks again, Hydra.
Not a problem, man.
And guys, that's going to do it for this episode of MechWarrior Online. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of questions, a lot of coverage there, but also a lot of fun. So thank you again to Hydra. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out the links in the description. Feel free to leave all of your comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, even topics of discussion that you might want to hear in a future episode. We'd love to hear about it. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Really do appreciate all the support. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Take care, guys.